you're a little bit nosy, I'm going to expose myself here. And so I knew from a young age that if I wanted to go see Taylor Swift, I was gonna have to save up my money. Everybody spends their money differently. Some people like to buy clothes. I like to go see Taylor Swift. It doesn't look like a real number, truly. That's a fake number. I truly can't believe I'm sharing this with you, and I really hope my dad is not watching this video, because if so, he might be physically ill. The total amount that I have spent on the Eras Tour is... Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nina. If you are new here, welcome, but if you are not new, thanks for coming back. I feel like enough time has passed from the Eras Tour to do this video. It's been about 2 months since the last show. I don't know what made me want to do this video, but I feel like not enough people talk about truly the financial commitment it is to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I know that everybody knows how expensive the tickets were, mostly because of the resale prices being absolutely astronomical. It's so infuriating. But as somebody who went to the Eras Tour 12 times in 7 different cities, 3 different countries, I just wanted to be transparent today and tell you guys exactly how much I spent of my own money to go to the Eras Tour. Now, I debated making this video because I feel like I was afraid of getting hate comments and people just being not very nice. Every time I went to another Eras Tour show, everybody would be all up in arms saying I'm being selfish, I'm taking a ticket away from somebody else, and I've said this countless times, but I will say it again. I know it's harsh, but truly the reason people were not able to go to the Eras Tour is because of Ticketmaster and the insane resale situation, the bots. You know, the ability for someone to even list a ticket for over $10,000 is insane and literally should be illegal. Every time there was a last minute drop, almost immediately there was hundreds of tickets on the resale sites. So those were not real fans obviously buying those tickets, and the people that are ruining it for all of us are the people that are trying to make a profit and make a quick buck. And so that's my little spiel. I have a couple disclaimers before we get started here. I have been a fan for so long, over 10 years. My dream has always been to go to multiple Taylor Swift concerts. When I was a freshman in high school, all of my friends got to go to the Red Tour and I did not, and I was very sad. And so I knew from a young age that if I wanted to go see Taylor Swift, I was gonna have to save up my money ahead of time if I wanted to go see the concert. And so my senior year of high school, I got to go to the 1989 tour once. Between the 1989 tour and Reputation, I purposely set aside money so that I could go to the Reputation tour. Come around to when I am a sophomore in college, I bought tickets to 3 different Reputation shows with my own money that I earned from the coffee shop. And back then, it was so normal for fans to go to more than one show. And that's literally the reason Taylor Swift came up with surprise songs, because she knew people were going to multiple shows, so she wanted to switch it up and make each show exciting and unique. If you were unaware, this is something that the Swifties have done since the beginning of Taylor's tours. We've always wanted to go to multiple shows because they're all different and they're all unique. And when it was the Reputation tour, it was super easy to buy more than one ticket. It was only $200 for a floor seat. The nosebleed tickets were less than $100. So, and they had a more in-depth Ticketmaster process during the Reputation era. Now, fast forward to Loverfest, which I did get tickets to. Again, I saved my money, set aside for Loverfest, got the tickets to both shows for Loverfest West. That got canceled, got refunded the money, and then ever since COVID, I have just known that the next time Taylor Swift is going on tour, I'm going to go to as many shows as I financially can sustain, and I just prepared for that because that's what I wanted to do. One more thing, all of the money that I spent on the Taylor Swift concerts or anything that has to do with the Eras Tour is how I think of as an investment. It's a personal investment in my happiness. Everybody spends their money differently. Some people like to buy clothes. Some people like to buy designer things. Some people like to go on vacations. I like to go see Taylor Swift. So, it was also an investment in my YouTube channel because every single time I went to something related to Taylor Swift, I was vlogging, I was posting about it, and that all counts as content to be invested into my YouTube channel. So, to be honest, if I wasn't making money off of going to these shows, I don't think I would be able to financially afford it, to be honest. But the fact was, I was making a profit from going to Eras Tour shows and posting it on my YouTube channel. So, that is all I have for being transparent about all of of that kind of stuff, disclaimers, whatever. Now let's get into the reason you clicked on this video. How much did I spend going to the Eras Tour? I also think it's important to be transparent because there's so many people that went to the Eras Tour like 30 plus 40 times and were being super vague about how they were able to do it. You know, some people were honest and was explaining how they would spend money on resale tickets, and I'll say resale tickets, fair game. Yes, not everybody can afford it, but you cannot demonize the people that are choosing to spend that much money on something that they want to do. And also, I'm a nosy person, so I just like to know, like, how are other people being able to do this? Like, what do you do for work? Like, how are you making that much money? How are you spending it? All that kind of stuff. So anyways, if you're a little bit nosy, I'm going to expose myself here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go show by show here. So our first city was Glendale, Arizona, and I went to 2 shows in this city. My ticket the first night was $131. We got that in the pre-sale. And then the ticket for night 2 was a resale ticket that we had bought the night before the first show. And that resale ticket was $450 with fees included, and that was for a row 8 lower bowl seat. So in total, the tickets for both shows cost $581. For the hotel, we stayed for 3 nights, and my portion of that was $255. We rented a car and drove from Southern California to Phoenix, Arizona. The car and the gas cost about $120 for my portion. For food, I spent around $75. We only had a couple like full meals out at restaurants because we went to 2 of the shows, and each day we would just get breakfast, have a quick lunch before we would head out to the venue, and then after we would just go to like McDonald's or whatever at like midnight. And then for my outfits, I had 2 different outfits, both that I bought on Amazon, and those combined were $125. And then for merch, we spent $0 because we thought all the merch was online, so we just decided that if we wanted merch, we'd buy it online. Come to find out, that was not the case. So the grand total for our weekend in Phoenix, Arizona for the opening weekend of the Eras Tour was $1,156 about. I'm kind of rounding up or estimating here just to make it simpler. Then moving on to Nashville. The first ticket I had was a nosebleed, and that was for the night 3 show, and that was $131 we got in the pre-sale. And then I decided to go to night 2 by myself, so I bought a resale ticket. It was a floor ticket, row 11, very close to where Taylor Swift did the guitar surprise song, and this one was the most I spent on an Eras Tour ticket. Out of all of my shows, this was the most expensive ticket, but I will argue it was one of my favorite shows I ever went to, and that was $920, which I think is still not as bad as most people spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I think under $1,000 for a resale floor ticket was not that bad. Also, I justified this because we did not pay for lodging at all in Nashville because one of our best friends from high school lives in Nashville, and so we paid $0 for a hotel, Airbnb, anything, and that was like huge. Anyways, that was my justification of it. Our flight was $307 round trip. Thankfully, we were able to fly on like a Wednesday and leave on Tuesday, so not very popular flight days just because we were able to stay with our friend. For gas, we spent around $35 because we borrowed our friend's car to drive around to all of the stuff, and I included some of the activities that we did because they were all Taylor Swift related. We went to the Taylor Swift exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame. That was $55 per person. And then we went to the Love Story Castle, which actually the Love Story Castle was free because they let us park in the handicap area because our friend just had ACL surgery and she had a handicap placard, and so they just let us like pull straight up to the castle without paying the admission fee, and so that was clutch. The Bluebird Cafe had a $25 fee for if you wanted to go in and take a picture with Taylor Swift's chair. My outfit was $90 for my dress and my sparkly boots, and then my outfit for night 2 was just one that I already had. And then we spent $90 on merch on night 3 because we were soaking wet from the torrential lightning storm and we needed something dry to wear, so we bought 2 t-shirts. So our grand total for Eras Tour Nashville weekend was $1,727. Moving on to our third city, this was one that just kind of was very impromptu, was not planned. Literally the week before, my friend called and told me she had an extra ticket. I decided to full send it. So I booked a flight to Minneapolis, Minnesota for a night one. So the ticket cost $262 for the center lower bowl area. And then my flight, I originally had found a super cheap round trip flight. One of them got canceled. And so I had to rebook on a flight that was more expensive because it was so last minute. So total round trip, I spent $657, which is a little more than what I would have liked to pay, but nothing was going to stop me from going to this concert, truly. And also I didn't have to pay for lodging because I stayed at my friend's house, and I didn't buy a new outfit. I just used one that I had. So that was $0. And then for food, I spent probably just like $40 like eating in the airport. I was there for 24 hours, so it wasn't like a big trip or anything by any means. I was literally there for 23 hours. So that brings us to a grand total of $959 for my 24-hour trip to Minneapolis. And was it worth it? Yes, because I got to see If This Was a Movie, the only time she performed it on the Eras Tour. Love that for me. Okay, moving on to our last city of 2023, and that was none other than Los Angeles, California, which is basically my hometown. I live an hour outside of LA, so this was like our home city for the Eras Tour. I attended 4 out of the 6 LA shows. Night 2, I had front row floor seats from the pre-sale that were $565, which honestly is such a good deal for a front row floor seat to the Eras Tour. I did pretty good with that one. And then night 3 was the Saturday show. We had nosebleeds, and that was $151. And then night 5, I got last minute GA standing tickets for $55, which was literally so clutch. Yes, we did have to stand the whole time, but like I couldn't even believe how cheap that ticket was. And then the final night in LA, night 6, we had lower bowl seats for $260. So the grand total for tickets in LA was $1,031 for 4 shows. And then for my outfits, I spent around $250 because I had 2 outfits that I DIY'd from scratch, and then I reused one outfit, and then on the last night we just wore t-shirts that we made. And then for gas, because we were driving back and forth from LA, an hour away, 4 times, the gas was around $100 for my share of it. And then for parking, it was absolutely insane at SoFi Stadium, like literally $80 to $90 every single time. And so my portion of the parking was probably around $200 because every time we'd go we split it, and there was 2 times I went with just one other person, so we love that. And then for merch, on the very last night of the tour, I bought $250 of merch because I truly thought that was my last show ever at the Eras Tour. Come to find out, I would go to 3 more shows. So our grand total for Eras LA was $1,831. Okay, moving on to 2024. I did not have tickets at the start of 2024, but I truly felt in my soul that I was gonna make it happen, especially when I realized she was adding Tortured Poets and switching up the set list. I just needed to be there. And so I had a wonderful, wonderful subscriber reach out to me and offer to sell her tickets to the London show in August for face value. That is the important part here, because even though most of Europe had pretty cheap resale tickets, which is why a ton of people from America were flying to Europe because they didn't get tickets in 2023, and it was cheaper to fly to Europe and go see the show than it was to buy a resale ticket in the US. London was still pretty expensive for the resale tickets, so this was a blessing for me to be able to buy these for face value. And so I got a lower bowl seat for $311. Since me and my best friend kind of looped this into a Europe trip, there was a lot of other expenses that were just like our personal expenses, but if we're just talking about our London expenses, our round trip flight was $947. My portion of our Airbnb in London was $318, and we stayed for 4 nights. For transportation, this included Ubers, the metro, all of that was $76. Food was around $150. We did have to buy an extra checked bag just for our merch, which is so unhinged, but that was $37 for our extra merch bag. The total I spent on merch was $218, and I had got the 2 of the blue crew necks. I got one for my friend, one for me, and then I think I got a shirt. But anyways, merch is so expensive, so so you could hit $200 so easily. And then for my outfit, I made by hand, so that was $268 for all the materials to make my DIY lover bodysuit, which I will never do again because it took me like 80 hours to make that thing. So our grand total for Eras Tour London was $2,325. And to be honest, I did not add up all of this until 30 minutes ago, and it is shocking to me even. Okay, moving on to our second city of 2024, and that was Miami, Florida. And this was, again, one of those situations where my friend had an extra ticket because people dropped out, asked me if I wanted to go. I said absolutely, and then I booked a flight. So the ticket for Miami was $370, and it was for a lower bowl seat that was actually so good. We had a great view. My flight was $277 round trip, which is a really good deal from LAX all the way across the country. Between hotel and Airbnbs, we were in Miami for, I think, 5 nights total. My portion of it was $645. Miami is definitely the most expensive city I visited for the Eras Tour because it was just, everything was so expensive. So I ended up spending probably around $390 on food because the food was so expensive. I can't, even being from Southern California, I was like shocked by the prices. So that took a big chunk of the budget. And then for merch, I spent $250 because I got the Gracie Abrams special hoodie, and then I also needed to get some merch for other people. So that's where the rest of that money comes from. And then for my outfit, I just bought a dress and boots, and that was $127 for the outfit. This was definitely one of the more expensive legs of my Eras Tour, and so our grand total comes to $2,169, which is literally insane if you compare it to London. I went to London for 5 days and it was only $200 more than going to Miami. Let that sink in. That's crazy. And finally, we make it to our last stop on the Eras Tour and the last stop of the Eras Tour Nena's version, which is Vancouver, Canada. Now, my cousin got the tickets for face value, so my ticket was $378, again, for a lower bowl seat. My flight was $425 round trip. My portion of our Airbnb was $378. For transportation, we didn't rent a car, we just took the metro and Ubers and whatever, and so my portion of that was $91. I spent around $135 on food. We were there for 3 nights, so we really only had like 2 sit-down, more expensive meals. For merch, I spent $98 because they ran out of the blue crew neck and I was gonna get another one, but I just ended up getting a couple t-shirts. And then for my outfit, I spent $118. So our Canada closing weekend total was $1,623. I know y'all are thinking I am literally so insane for this, and honestly, I know. You don't have to tell me. Before I get into the total amount, I'm not gonna like defend myself because this is something that has brought me so much joy in the last 2 years. Like, truly my reason for existing the past 2 years was the Eras Tour and just all the joy that it brought me and how many memories I made. Like, I do not regret a single penny because I felt like this was such an investment in my happiness, in being young in my 20s, just living my best life with my best friends, seeing my favorite person in the world. So that's my little piece before I give you guys the total amount. I truly can't believe I'm sharing this with you, and I really hope my dad is not watching this video because if so, he might be physically ill listening to this. So drum roll please. The total amount that I have spent on the Eras Tour from 2023 to 2024 is $11,790. It doesn't look like a real number, truly. That's a fake number. And if I spent that much, I can only imagine how much other people spent that went to the concert more than me. And I will say, I met somebody in Florida that was going to pay $4,000 per ticket for 2 tickets. $8,000 for just going to one show on the Eras Tour. Now, I would like to say I would never do that, but if that was my only option for seeing the Eras Tour, I understand why people make crazy decisions like that. I'm not saying it's financially responsible by any means, but at the end of the day, it's like, up to you. It's everybody's choice to do what they're going to do with their money to make them happy. And this is a very much we listen, we don't judge video. But I truly just wanted to like share with you guys how I was able to do this. I will say, I'm not making boatloads of money from my job. I make a very normal amount of money being a content creator. This is just something I have prioritized maybe a little too much, to be honest. But again, I don't regret it. All I'm gonna say is I need to start saving for the next one because I can't imagine it's going to be cheaper to see Taylor in the future. Looking forward to the next tour, I truly feel like the Eras tour was like a once in a lifetime thing. I have a feeling that the next tour will not be as insane as the Eras tour. Not that it won't be as good, because I definitely think like Taylor just gets better and better with time, but I feel like this one invited the greater community, the greater public interest, and so people that technically weren't fans wanted to go the Eras tour. And so I think that's why it was so hard to get tickets. It was so inflated with the prices, and the resale tickets were insane, and like everybody was trying to get tickets to it because it felt like anyone who has ever liked a Taylor Swift song ever wanted to go to this tour. And I just have a feeling the next tour is going to be slightly different than that in the vibes of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna be saving up money for it, but yeah. I just wanted to give you guys a realistic picture of what it takes to do this, and I guess that's all I have to say. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the transparency, and I hope you guys will not be too mean to me in the comments. And I was just so happy that I could take everybody along with me and document literally all of these concerts. If you want to go see full vlogs of every single one of these shows, they are on my channel. I included most of the concert in the vlogs so that people could feel like they were there if they weren't able to get tickets to the show or Taylor didn't come to your country. I wanted it to feel like you were there with me. And so yeah, it's just something that has brought me a lot of joy in the last couple years. Sad that it's over, but my bank account is very happy at the moment. I also just want to truly thank each and every one of you that have been subscribed throughout this like Eras tour journey. It has been like so much fun, and just meeting you guys on tour and talking with you guys in the comments. It has just been so much fun, and I am so grateful for you guys that this is what I get to do for my job. But anyways, if you guys like this video, give it a like. Let me know what other videos you guys want me to make. Make sure that you are subscribed and you turn on your post notifications so you don't miss a single new upload. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.